This episode is brought to you by this summer's Wildlands charity auction, which is now open for bidding on amazing stuff, all benefiting local nonprofit conservation groups. Go to wildlandsmusic.com/charity. Make it a little moodier.
Yeah, that's good.
Could be warmer.
A little more romantic.
Could be warmer.
All right.
A warm filter on that.
I'm going to start. Yes?
Yep.
All right. We're talking about Land ID today, and we are with Chris Hamilton. He is the acting CEO of Land ID. It's an app, it's a program, it's a whole bunch of things, but it's a Bozeman-based company specializing in interactive mapping tools. Yes?
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for
Chris.
having me.
This
And-
is
it's good to
exciting.
hear.
Yes. Break down Land ID for me. Like, what is it? Who is
Yeah.
it for? What does it do?
Yeah,
As if we were talking to the layman.
for sure. So you're correct. It's an app. It's available on the web and on mobile in the App Store and the Google Play Store. It is really about two things. One is finding and understanding properties using a map, and then also creating maps for properties and ultimately using Land ID to help showcase those properties. And that's where we get into kind of the different user groups that fit into these use cases. And really the first one in terms of finding and understanding properties better is really anybody. It's people like you and me. It's people who are owners of existing properties. They could be interested in purchasing a property. Maybe they're an investor, or maybe they're just curious about properties. And what Land ID provides is the ability to search on the map, be able to locate properties based on criteria, and then be able to tap into the rich data that we have to help you understand those properties and really understand the location, the context of that location, and everything about the property.
But it's not a turn-by-turn navigation app that's going to take me to a destination. It's more about the data that's in
Yes,
the
that's
public
right.
sphere.
That's right. We do, however, provide directions to people trying to get to properties, but that's really not the primary feature. The primary features are about the data and understanding those properties and ultimately understanding the value of those properties.
Right. I have a very in-depth question. Why is the ID lowercase?
Why is it? That's a great question. Yeah, great question. There's a couple of reasons, and then I would say in general, our design team, which is actually one of the best design teams I've ever worked with, decided that they really liked the lowercase for our branding and our logo. But
Okay.
we wanted to make sure, number one, that it didn't get confused with the abbreviation for Idaho.
Yeah.
Which is a capital ID, of course.
That'll do it.
And then there's a lot of other apps that use ID as a abbreviation for
Yeah.
identification, and generally it's capitalized. So it just allowed us to stand apart from those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Plus, if you ever want to talk about the land's id,
I was going to
You're
say
on top
it,
of it.
and I was like,
That's
but then,
true.
yeah, okay.
I beat you to the
beat you to
terrible
the end.
joke.
Right.
that,
Come on.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed.
Yeah.
Little psychology there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is what, like, for people who want like an idea of what it looks like. For me, like when I was looking at it, it's kind of like if you were going to do like a Google image, and
Yeah.
when you zoom in on a house and you're like, what does the roof look like? What is the this is more like you click on it and it tells you every single bit of information that you would need to know.
That's
like
right.
The square footage, who owns it, what it's worth. Like if it has water, if
Yeah.
it has
Property lines,
if
all the
it's-
different
yeah.
aspects.
Yeah, if it's
What-
public water, if it's power, sewer, whatever.
So
I found
much-
out people a few doors down from us
They did
don't
what?
actually own their house. Their parents do.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if they listen to our podcast, but I know.
Seemingly too much information, more than we should have. But blow our minds with,
Yeah.
because it seems like there's so much data that it's pulling from. Where
There
does this data live? How much
Yeah.
data is it?
Yeah, it's massive amount of data. But basically, we have property ownership data for the entire United States. That's 152 million parcels in the U.S. And so you've got all of this data, and we source it from both publicly available sources, and some is privately available through purchase. But we have to do a huge amount of work to bring it all together so it can just be displayed on the map in a performant way. But yeah, I mean, the parcel data is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. We have, I think it's 46 layers of data that can be applied to the map. And that also includes all of the, what we call it, aerial imagery. And you think of this as like the satellite view as you're looking down at the property. In actual fact, that imagery is captured by planes that are flying across the United States in order to get the resolution that we have in the app. But that, I asked the team just how much data is that imagery, and it's 4.3 petabytes
What?
of imagery data across the United States.
I don't know what a petabyte
unbelievable.
is.
I've
Yeah.
not heard of a petabyte
Yeah.
before. I
When
don't
you
think.
said what, I'm like,
Yeah.
do you really know what a petabyte is? What is a petabyte?
Petabytes, 1,000 terabytes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
what a
Or
terabyte
above
is.
tera.
I got
Right.
a terabyte. Okay,
Right.
cool. Cool,
So
cool.
massive.
And is that
quantities of
on a
data.
server somewhere in Bozeman?
No. So we use Amazon Web Services. So it's all being hosted out of that, but we manage that whole instance. Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's a massive amount of data. And yeah, I mean, going beyond that, we have, I think now we're up to 2.5 million custom maps that have been made with the product.
Wow. So you guys used to be MapRight, and then you
Correct.
switched to Land ID. Is there?
Yes.
What's the reasoning for that? Didn't like the
Yes,
first
yes.
name.
A bunch of different reasons. First of all, Steve Robertson started the company down in Austin, and his concept for the company was to really create a mapping application that's very easy to use. It didn't require heavy tools like you typically find in a GIS space like Esri, which are also really expensive, require a lot of expertise.
Define GIS.
GIS, Global Information Services, or
Okay.
Geospatial Information Services. That kind of skill set is something that he wanted to move away from and enable someone like a real estate agent to be able to create a map which doesn't have those skill sets. So the name MapRight came from that concept,
Okay.
which was like ability to make maps in an easy way.
Yeah.
And then in 2022, when we brought myself came on and we brought in our team of designers, and we started working with some of our board members to think about, okay, we need to kind of expand the scope of this. We want to make sure that this is really, addresses the needs of people across both the real estate ecosystem as well as, again, people like you and me. And we ended up with Land ID primarily because we like the concept of every piece of land is unique. And it's very similar to, think of it like ID as like
Right.
a fingerprint, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that, where it's unique. Every person is unique. Every piece of land is unique, whether that's because of the buildings on the property, the contours, the terrain. It could just be the view, right? The view is different. But ultimately, that property is unique. And we loved that about that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense because it is perfectly like I've got my driver's license versus yours. These are our IDs.
We don't need to talk about
Yours
drivers.
looks way older than
It's a
mine.
terrible photo.
Yeah,
And
we
then
went
she
in
still
and
uses
they
the one.
used Montana for some reason. This one last time, it was during 2020 when we were renewing our license plates. They used the picture of me from when I was in my 20s.
Yes.
And then they gave Joe a recent picture, which was kind of blown out.
I think they ran through that age filtering app that makes you look way older. I'll show it to you.
got
Yeah,
our
it's
IDs in the
terrible.
mail, and I laughed so hard because I look like your grandchild. Sorry, back to Land ID.
Lots of identifying characteristics on driver's licenses. You talked about taking aerial photos from planes. How are you scouring up all of this information? Is it on the dark web? Are you going to the library and looking at microfiche? I mean, where is it all coming from?
Well, again, it's a combination of public sources and private sources. The public sources are mostly governmental sources, and that's where you get
Is that
into-
something we all have access to?
We do. We all have access to that, although a lot of times it's literally just databases.
Right.
And
It's
so
tedious to find.
it's not really useful to the average person. You'd have to be an expert in working with that database. And then to be able to put it on the map is a whole nother skill set that our team does. And they have to do a lot of processing of that data
was going to say, do you have an actual human processing this data, or do you have somebody, do you have AI saying, all right, I'm going to pull this information out?
Yeah, no. It's people
So
with real skill sets putting that on the map, and also making sure that it's correctly placed onto the map, because you can end up with a bunch of errors as well.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this so valuable is all of that information you have access to, and it comes up so quickly.
Yes, it does. It comes up super quickly. And that's the secret sauce, with our engineering team, is making that really perform and doing it in such a way where as you scroll around on the map, you're not waiting for the map to load, right?
Nope.
Was there a moment when you got to fiddle with the app along the way when it really popped and you realized, okay, this is going to be really something?
Yes. I mean, I think we always kind of had this vision for where this could go, particularly in the real estate space.
Yeah.
But then seeing it come to life when you tap on that property and you see the property card come up. And again, hats off to our design team for how they designed the information showing up on that card, but showing it in a way that is consumable by anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And real estate agents really do love your app. We have friends that are agents that like it. Do you have any cool success stories or interesting or weird stories regarding Land ID that you'd like to share?
There's lots of stories. We could probably talk for a long time on these.
I'm sure.
A couple of success stories I could highlight. One is actually just locally here in Big Sky. There was a property that was just a lot. There was no structure on it yet, but it was a ski in, ski out property at Big Sky, and it was a little bit further away from the mountain. And I think people were kind of questioning whether it was really ski in, ski out.
Yeah.
And it was listed for 2 years, and this was even during the COVID boom, where we saw a huge uptick in property sales in Big Sky.
Yeah.
But it sat on the market, and the agent discovered Land ID, created a map for this property, and he marked out the trails for how you can ski in and ski out of this property. He marked the lifts on the map,
nice.
and then took that map and embedded it on his listing website along with all the other listing information. And that property sold within 2 months.
I bet.
Of doing that. And it just kind of speaks to the importance of the map and understanding the context of where this property is. We talk about the adage of real estate being location, 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 and it's really true.
Truly location. Yeah, Joe's dream is to have a ski in, ski out. So we'll set up the GoFundMe right after this
Even
interview.
on a huge powder day, you're not going to get boned on the road as everybody's slipping and sliding.
Yeah, that's right.
You used to be with OnX before you came to Land ID.
That's right.
Compare the two in terms of features. OnX started as a hunting app, but it quickly became a tool of real estate agents.
Yeah, I was at OnX for about 5 years, responsible for the product as well as the GIS team there. And the focus at OnX has always been recreation, and like you said, hunting being the primary one. But it has all of the property ownership information, because hunters need to be able to understand where they are in relationship to property lines, right?
Yeah.
What's public, what's
especially,
private.
yeah.
What's public, what's private.
I'm still confused there sometimes.
Exactly. And that was definitely the vision of the founder, Eric Siegfried, to get that into an app so that when you're in the field, you could see where you are in relationship to those boundaries. The other piece of it was understanding the ownership of those properties. So if you wanted to get permission to go and hunt on the property, you had a way to potentially contact the landowner. Now, OnX is very focused on that hunting use case.
Yeah.
And so there really wasn't the need to go deeper on the property itself, beyond just the ownership and the property boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's really where OnX stops. Now, it's an amazing app for hunting, off-roading. Now they have their backcountry app as well for backcountry skiing and backpacking.
Yeah.
So really designed for outdoor recreation, but not designed for real estate.
Yeah.
As being responsible for the product there, we were 100% focused on hunting and outdoor recreation, but not focused on real estate. And that really is the DNA of the company is recreation. But I saw this opportunity in real estate, and we could see this. You mentioned real estate agents using OnX. I saw this happen time and time again, where the real estate agent would go, wow, I can't believe I can see the ownership on the map. And people would talk about it being their secret weapon, going out with clients and driving around. But again, the data was very limited. And that's where Land ID comes in.
Yeah, I think of it as Land ID as OnX and Zillow had a baby with superpowers.
Right.
Is that how you guys describe it?
That's a great description. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going significantly deeper on the data. And then again, as I said, being able to find properties and then understand that value. It's like, is the property in a floodplain?
Right.
Is it, what school districts are nearby? Is it in city limits or out of city limits? Are there transmission lines? We just added a fiber optic layer. So you can understand, is there fiber optic service nearby?
Oh, nice.
For high-speed internet and those kinds of things.
So this value, we know that real estate agents, I just combined that word, see it as valuable. How do you guys set your price point for people buying Land ID?
We have really two tiers of pricing. We have, I'll call it kind of our consumer tier, which is just, again, for people like you and me. That is, our base tier is called Land ID, and it's $84 a year. And then we just, as of yesterday, released our kind of step up from Land ID, which is called Land ID Premium. And that one is $144 a year.
No commercials.
Right. And then we have our pro plans. And the pro plans are really targeted towards the real estate professionals. That would be both kind of real estate agents, brokers, appraisers, surveyors. We even see, banks, lenders, contractors using the app. That gives you the map making capabilities.
That's the defining line there.
Although with Land ID Premium, you can now make maps, but you're limited to 3 maps. And then the other piece that is not part of Premium is the ability to take that map and embed it on your listing website, which is something that the professionals need to be able to do to showcase those properties.
Are you happy with where Land ID is now, or do you have major plans for growth? What are your expectations for the business?
We are very happy with the growth, but we have major plans for more growth.
Okay.
So we're seeing a huge amount of traction. Again, it's nationwide. We're seeing growth across the country. But we continue to see more and more growth into the larger brokerages, seeing a lot more uptick with the big offices around the country. And then kind of longer term, we're definitely looking at going outside of the United States, going international. Some data is easier to find than others as you go international, but we're pretty optimistic about being able to do that.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I'd like to see that. On
send
those days where I'm like, I'm done with this country and we need to go to the south of France.
Get the special agents working on that.
See if they've got potable water.
CIA. I don't know that we have any more questions. I think we're ready to move on to the dumb marmot game.
Yes.
All right. You guys can see this, but you can't see this. This is the key.
He never tells me what the game is, so I don't know what we're doing.
All right. This dumb marmot game is called Map Maker, Make Me a Map.
Okay.
All right. So
combining his theatrical side.
I am
not.
We're doing. I'm not a real estate agent, but I had so much fun making maps using Land ID. You choose from all these different base layers, and then you can add overlays. And so what I've done is I've made some maps of points of interest in Montana, and use the overlays and the bases as hints. Okay, for what you're looking at. So you are both you're on the same team, you're working together. What is this point of interest?
Chris.
I'll tell you, the base layer here is street. Okay, that's it.
This is where we are right now.
Yes, that is correct.
That's easy
we
because
are here.
I saw JTech up front.
Yep. All right, so that one's a dead giveaway, just to let you know how the game works. Okay.
Hey.
Got it.
Interesting that they spelled Yellowstone Coalition wrong on the map.
They did.
Coalition. I don't know.
That's how we know it's a human doing it.
Can I read?
Probably have
let's
to blame.
Put a pin in that one.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in that one. We need to fix that. Exactly.
Alert the team.
Yep.
Okay, here's the next one. It's a little more difficult. All right. Your base layer for this is Explore. That's one of the base layers.
Yes.
And your overlay is Contour. That's your hint.
Contour.
Okay. Try to get an idea of what you're looking at. Points of interest in Montana.
Let's see.
What do you think?
Creek here.
Look at those contour lines.
Can't tell what creek it is. What creek does it say?
The water is not the hint. The contour lines are the hint.
Which are these things?
Mm-hmm. Perhaps the altitude.
Oh, is that a Big Sky?
That is Lone Peak. That is
Lone
Big Sky
Peak.
Resort. Very
yeah.
good.
Look at
Sorry,
that.
I only know the altitude because I had to run up
Yes.
there.
Yes.
All right.
That's good.
I thought you'd get it. Good. All right, here's the next one. The base layer for this is satellite. The overlay is floodplain.
Ah, yes.
And then I've also marked a dam.
Okay.
I see Madison River, Rock
guessing.
Creek, Eagle Creek.
This is Quake Lake.
That is Quake Lake. Very
Oh,
good.
I was there. I was almost
Yes.
there.
You're on the same team.
That's fine.
Right. all right,
Competition
we're good.
between
I
the
felt
two
proud.
of you.
That was
Nice.
good. That was
All
good.
right.
I like
You
it.
win.
Here's the next map.
Okay.
Your base map for this is vintage, okay? And the overlay is surface water, and then I've marked a spring.
Big Portage. There's a hot spring. Okay.
It's not on a river.
It's close to a river, but
Is
it's
it Norris?
not on a river. It's not Norris.
Not Norris.
Close to a river, not on a river. Is it Chico?
It is not
A
Chico.
little bit too close. Yeah, too close to the river.
Trailer Court. Oh, Trailer Court. Is it Bozeman Hot Springs?
It is Bozeman Hot
Bozeman
Springs.
Hot
Very good,
Springs.
Michelle.
Okay.
Because there's still like a trailer park there, right?
I think, it is in that area. Very good, guys.
Okay.
All right.
I don't mind if they
They
build
get
something.
a little more difficult, okay?
Yeah.
So the base layer for this is Google, and your overlay is wells, barns, horse stalls, pens, cabins, and houses.
Okay.
I also marked a gate.
Chief Joseph Acres homeowners. Wells.
Joseph. We got the Bitterroot River.
What could it be?
I think I know what this
If you think you know, speak up.
is. It Lone Mountain Ranch?
It is not Lone Mountain Ranch.
Isn't that near Chief Joseph Trail?
Lots and lots of outbuildings.
Lots of outbuildings.
The school.
Exactly.
The river may be helpful.
Oh,
93.
yes. Stop this.
Bitterroot River.
Oh, we've gotten
Boy.
tricky with this one.
Wait, what? Oh, it's the Bitterroot River. Sorry.
Mhm.
Lots of
Yeah.
outbuildings. Is it U of M?
It is not. That's on Clark's Fork.
Out towards Missoula, maybe, huh?
Isn't the Bitterroot out by Missoula?
By
I'm
Hamilton.
thinking Black.
Hamilton.
Yeah, Bitterroot.
Ah, yes.
Which Hamilton is out by Missoula? In my mind,
we're
like in
stumping 'em.
Montana
This is
speak,
good.
we have
Yeah.
our own country here.
Really
You're
good
like-
sized range, though.
It is.
Yeah.
Looks even bigger on
Chief
TV.
Joseph Trail threw me because
Oh.
that used to be the road I ran up in Big Sky.
Guessing then it's the Yellowstone.
That is the Yellowstone
Ranch.
Dutton Ranch.
Yellowstone
Ah,
Dutton Ranch, yes.
Dutton
Which
Ranch.
Chief Joseph Ranch is standing
Yes,
in for
standing
Yellowstone
in for
Dutton
that.
Ranch. All right, and here's our last
That's a
one.
good one.
I'm glad that it's not
You got
terribly
mine.
easy for
Not
you guys.
too, yeah.
The base map for this is aerial, and your overlays are contour and railroad.
Oh, yes.
And I've also marked a couple of canceled or abandoned locations on there. But I scratched out the names because that would have been a dead giveaway.
North Main Street.
Is it just this whole thing?
Mm-hmm. What is that point of interest? What is that place in Montana? Railroads.
Guessing this is a Butte.
Awfully close to the houses.
Okay.
Yes, that is Butte, Montana.
Yeah, I see indications
You
of
win.
mining
Hey,
activity.
look, Alabama Street. I
There
know.
we
I was
go.
looking at the streets. There's Alabama.
Yep.
That was
that's great.
map maker, make me a map. I had so
fun.
much fun just
I
like
bet.
Oh,
going
good.
through, picking places and trying to
Yep.
find the right overlays that wouldn't give it away too much. But that it's such a great program company that you guys have. I love what you're
Super
doing.
cool.
Oh,
And I
that's
know
great. Thank
real
you.
estate agents have to be doing backflips if somebody like me,
Definitely. Yeah.
who's outside the industry, thinks it's great.
Yeah.
Just some dude really likes it. Then yeah, agents I'm sure really like
The
it.
agents are pretty excited about it. Yeah, we see this wow moment all the time
Yeah.
Yeah.
when they start to realize what they can do with the app.
And it helps with just a regular, person that is, interested in purchasing land or property or anything like
It
that.
does.
Because if it's something that's been sitting there for a really long time, and so that
Mm-hmm.
happens in Montana. I think people have just bought chunks of things or houses or whatever that they're just upkeeping. If you can find out who owns it and just say, hey, listen, I'll make you an offer on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can
right.
people try it for free?
Yes, there's
Okay.
a 7-day free trial for all of our pricing tiers. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
You guys should definitely do that. Grab
Yeah.
it, play with it for a week. I guarantee you'll end up
Yeah.
paying for it. It's
Definitely.
something
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
So thank
Yeah.
you, Chris Hamilton, for joining
Well,
us.
thank you for having me.
Thanks for your
Acting
time.
CEO of
Yes.
Land ID. Grab the app. It's fun.
Awesome. Thank you.
Enjoy.